In this video, I'm going to show you some stretching exercises that you could do post-workout. That's what this video is going to be about. It's kind of vague though, because it depends on what kind of exercises you're going to be doing. Are you doing cardio? Are you doing weights with just the lower half? Are you doing an upper body workout? Well, in general, these are, stretching exercises are going to help with muscle recovery. Of course, stretching can make you feel better too, but it's good for the muscles, good for the joints, as long as you don't overdo it. But I'll show you some of these stretches. So let's get started. In general, you want to do stretches that hit the major muscle groups first, because the smaller muscle groups most likely will get hit as well. One of them I like to do for the quadriceps. You could do it standing, you could do it laying on your side, but it's when you grab your foot or ankle and then you point your knee towards the floor. Now, this is so much easier, but I'm not really stretching the quadriceps, so I want to get my knee closer to the other leg, and once again, not in the front. So depending on what your current flexibility is, and you should be a little bit more flexible post-workout since your muscles are warm for what you just put it through. And you typically want to hold from anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds, let the muscle recover a little bit, do it again. I like to do it in sets of 3 and go a little bit harder each time you stretch. You want a little discomfort but not pain, and so if it hurts, you're stretching too hard. If you don't really feel anything, you're either doing it with an improper form and technique, or you're just not pulling hard enough to actually feel the muscle get tight. So once again, I like to use the back of a chair. You can put your hand on the wall and then do it. It all depends on your current fitness level, balance, that kind of thing. Because a lot of these stretches are going to be good regardless of your age, and for the most part, your ability too. Because like I said, you can lay on your side, use a towel if you can't, or a small blanket or something if you can't reach it with your hand, and do that. That's a good stretch. Also, the next one would be a good one for the hamstrings. So once again, if your balance is off, you could hold on to a wall or another chair, but you put your heel on top of the chair and you're going to lean forward. Once again, if your balance is bad, you have to be extra careful to not, bust your butt doing this one. But if your balance is okay, you try to keep this leg locked or just a very slight bend in the knee. You're going to reach for your toes. And in that process, you'll feel the hamstring, the back of the leg, feel tight. Also a little bit of your calf, especially if you bring your toes forward or towards you, you'll feel it a little bit more. You could do your foot like that if that's more comfortable, where you're pointing your toes away from you. But I like to bring the toes towards me, hold. Once again, this is a good one for the hamstrings. I'll show another one for the glutes. Since we got the chair here, I'll show you that one too. So I could put my foot on top of this one and then lean my body forward. So now I'm feeling it in the glutes here, a little bit of the calf on the foot that's on the floor. But once again, it's not going to be a super intense. If you want a more intense one, there's other ones you could do to really get a good glute stretch as well. So if you have any questions or want any more clarity, just let me know in the comment box below and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. For this next stretch, it's an upper body one. So I'm using this wall here. Now, if I want to stretch out my pectoral muscle or the chest muscle here, I'm going to lay my hand flat here. And I'm going to slowly rotate in the opposite direction away from the wall. Now I'm feeling the stretch in the pec muscle. Once again, you go at a slow pace because you may not know, if you're not experienced with this one, how far to turn. And the benefit of doing this one too, from the same position, I just rotate my hand. So this part of my hand here goes against the wall. Now when I turn to go away, I'm getting a much stronger bicep stretch in here. It's awfully tight. So once again, you want to make sure you're warmed up when you're doing these, because it is post-workout, so you should be. But I wouldn't just go, turn aggressively, because you might make something pop. Definitely don't want that. So it's turn, turn, turn until you feel it. Right there, I feel it. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, relax and do it again. So once again, palm on the wall, rotate, and notice my arms roughly parallel to the floor. I could change the angle, and that's going to affect how it affects the, or stretches the pec muscle. Once again, rotate. So right here, that part of your knuckle of the index fingers against the wall, and then I turn. Good one for the bicep. All right, for this one, it's easier when you're on the floor, because Unless you could levitate, this one would be quite tough. So what you want to do on this one, go as wide as you feel comfortable. You could do this standing, but it potentially is not going to be very good on your knees. You might injure yourself. I prefer doing it on the floor for that reason. So right now, if I lean forward to the front, it's going to do hamstrings and a little bit of the inner thigh. What I typically want to do is reach for one side, try to grab your foot or ankle. Now I'm feeling the hamstring. Once again, in this position here requires very little in the way of balance, of course, because I'm seated, but that way you have a little bit more control than if your balance is questionable and you're standing. So once again, I hold, then lean to this side, okay? Now, if I want to add a little bit of additional stretch, I could pull this foot in, and then as I go stretch here, I'm also feeling it in my quadricep, outer part of the glute, and this hamstring as I go in. So the same thing applies to these stretches, 20 to 30 seconds, 2 to 3 sets of each. Also, once again, coming across, and you go as far as you feel comfortable. Like this knee isn't quite as healthy as my other knee, so my foot isn't gonna go all the way to my leg, so I keep it out a little bit, but I still feel it in the quad here and the glute. And so once again, I have to modify as well. As you get older, that might be one of the things you have to do. If you're lucky enough that you don't have to modify anything, then that's just awesome. Okay, another way you could stretch the glute, you lie on your back like so, and you're gonna give yourself a hug. So I put my hands on my knee, bring my knee as close to my chest as possible, trying to relax the muscles as much as possible. That gives you a little bit more of a stretch. Now, once again, if your arms aren't strong enough to pull, then you might have to have, a friend push on your legs some, or you could grab a band or something that's sturdy like a towel and pull, and that'll take a little bit of pressure off your arms if your arms aren't strong enough to do this one, okay? From the same position, if I go across my body like so, head and shoulders down, and the tendency is to want to go like this. So I really got to keep my shoulders down, and it gets a good stretch in the low back and this part of your glute. So I could do the same thing on the other side and even modify it by having my leg up high and then go across. Once again, stretching out the glute, stretching out the lower back. Good one for this. Okay? There's also the one I like to call the pretzel stretch. That could be the actual name of it. I didn't invent the name. It's easy for me to remember that way. This is my left leg. So I put my right foot over, take my left elbow or hand, pull my knee this way, and try to look behind me. This is a good one for lots of different muscles, including this part of the outer glute, lower back, upper mid back, a little bit of the upper back as well. Once again, you just try to hold it for anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds. If it's too hard to hold it for that long, shoot for 10. Stretching a little bit is better than stretching none at all. And you might be able to work your way up to stretching more as you get a little bit more experience and practice with the different stretches. For this next stretch, it's going to stretch out a little bit of the trapezius, which is this muscle that goes up to roughly halfway up the back of the neck and down to the mid-back in a trapezoid shape, hence the name trapezius. It also stretches out the rear delt. On this one, I have my palm down, arm ahead in front of me, pulling across my body. So it's almost like you're giving yourself a one-armed hug. Once again, you go until it's snug. I could feel it here. It's working the traps a little bit, but once again, it kind of depends on how tight you are as well. Pull, hold, same thing. I could palm down, come across my body. I prefer not to pull below the elbow, go above the elbow, give yourself a nice squeeze and hold that position. And that's another one. So we stretched out the lower half, some of the muscles of the upper half, and I'm gonna show you another good one for the calf, because some of the other ones work the calf a little bit, but not quite like this next one. So on this next one, I'm using a doorway, or I could use a wall, and I wanna keep the back leg and the heel down. And then I'm gonna just simply lean forward, and now I could stretch my calf. You could also use it if you step on the edge of a stair, but once again, depending on your balance and your ability level, it's potentially dangerous. So you don't want to slip off the stair. So if I need even more of a stretch, I could take this front leg, come forward, and then lean my hips and my torso forward, trying to keep the heel down, and it's a nice calf stretch. Of course, you could still do it when you don't have a wall, and what I would do is bend this leg some, so that changes the angle of the ankle, and now I could feel the calf stretch here. But once again, it requires some stability and balance, depends on your fitness level and your ability, so just be careful you don't fall and hurt yourself, but that's another good calf stretch. So hopefully this video was helpful. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, or anybody you think might benefit from this type of stretching routine. Once again, there's a lot of different muscles I could stretch. This is just kind of a quick down and dirty one to get. That's not going to be too time consuming post-workout, because a lot of times for people after they finish their workout, they want to get going home. They want to hurry up and take a shower, clean up, and go on and do whatever they're going to do for the day. So this is just a few examples. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.